OK, well, we start with the match between two of the Premier League's traditional Big Six. This weekend is actually 14th against 13th. Tottenham against Manchester United live on Super Sunday. Ange Postecoglou spent most of this season talking about player injuries, but today he's got some good news. Gail Davis has been speaking to him this afternoon. She joins us live right now. Gail, very good afternoon to you. Look, you've got a smile as well as a Cheshire cat, just like Ange has in terms of these players coming back. Tell us about the team news. Is it good news for Spurs?
Gosh, he's waited long enough, hasn't he? But yeah, he did sort of look at this week and think this was the week that some of the bodies would be able to get back. And that is because they've had a week off as well in terms of getting ready for this game. And the last time it was almost the end of November where they haven't gone Thursday, Sunday. So it's just given him a chance to get some proper training done, get to see the players out there and get to give those injured players a really good week in preparation for the game on Sunday. So the really big news is Vicario is back injured in that Manchester City game at the end of November. Do you remember he played on with a broken ankle? So he's had surgery and talked about how well he's been training and the leadership that brings with him. James Maddison, another who's back, picked up the injury a couple of weeks ago in the Europa League. And then Destiny Udogie, who hasn't played since Wolves, the last game of 2024, is also likely to be back in the squad. Probably not going to see quite so much. Might not see him from the start, but the other two certainly in contention to start. And that's just a relief, isn't it, for Ange Postecoglou to actually talk about some players available rather than those that aren't.
I mean, it's been such a tough old spell this for Ange Postecoglou, hasn't it? Especially, domestically. Let's take away the Europa League because this, Premier League form, 6 defeats in 8, and they only just beat Brentford. Remember, so they managed to end that winless run. I mean, has it taken its toll on him? What do you read? In terms of his demeanour, body language, etc.
Well, he was in much better form today, that's for sure. I was a little bit fearful when I arrived at sort of 8 o'clock this morning to do the sit-down interview with him to run on Sunday morning. But I think just taking a moment to get off that hamster wheel, to actually get some sleep, because a lot of the time we see him on a Friday morning, and if they played in Europe the night before, often he's not got into the sort of hotel on site until 4 in the morning. Sometimes he's done those press conferences without any sleep. I did mention those players that are available. There was also a lot of interest on 2 in particular that still aren't, that many thought would be fit at that time. And that did prompt a little bit of the old Ange creeping back in, as we talked about Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven. Remember, the central defenders have been out with a quad and a hamstring injury, and van der Ven had sort of briefly come back and played a little bit in Europe, but they're just trying to hold him back a little bit more. So that was the one time it got a little bit edgy, and otherwise he was in quite a good mood.
Do you feel like your old self again? Because there've been times the last few weeks whereby
I've been grumpy.
You've been a little bit grumpy, yeah.
Fair enough too.
Yeah.
It's like I've had to do this 3 times a week, sometimes on 0 sleep. Cut me a little bit of slack. I mean, I can't be bubbly and cheery all the time. No, look, I fair to say, I appreciated the fact there wasn't a game this week, yeah, for sure. I mean, I had dinner with my family last night. My boys said, it seems like you haven't had a game for a while, Dad, it's only been 4 days. But that's the cycle we've all been in, and not just me, the other coaches. It's certainly, when you're going at it all the time, you do get into this cycle where it does become a bit of a grind, but you have to do it. There's no alternative. I can't not do things that I'm responsible for. So having the opportunity of, like I said, even this, not having to front up, 2 or 3 times and kind of answer the same kinds of questions allows you to sort of just take a breath and, hopefully I'm back to whatever I was before. But
you do feel like a new man?
I'm the same man. I feel like the same man I've always been, and, I'm sure that grumpiness will emerge at the appropriate time.
Well, it is Manchester United, isn't it, in Sunday's game. And Ange Postecoglou talked about what Ruben Amorim has done since he's got to United, with the context of having watched his career as well in Portugal. And clearly Ange is somebody else who has a philosophy that he has been very dedicated to. And he talked about his respect for Amorim and how he believes there will be long-term success if they give him the time and the space to be able to do what they brought him in for.
I'm sure if you asked Ruben that he would say, well, he's just doing what he was brought in to do. And you know, there's no point, you know, he's come in to, obviously they've scouted him, they've identified him, the way he plays, the way he goes about his business. You don't just make these appointments because, you know, you like the look of someone, you do actually a lot of work, and you bring him in with a purpose. Now, if anyone believes that anything can change significantly in a short space of time, we're living in an alternate universe that's not based in reality, you know. I'm sure if, who am I to sort of advise anybody, but, you know, if Man United stuck with Ruben for the next 2 years, they'd see progress, absolutely, because that's how long it takes. And if somebody can show me somebody who's done it quicker, without significant investment, by all means, put it across my desk and I'll follow that blueprint.
Yeah, he was on very good form today, wasn't he? And if you haven't had enough Ange, and you know who can get enough Ange, then Sunday morning, Super Sunday Match Day, we've got an extended interview with him where he was also very, very entertaining. So definitely worth a watch of that one.
Great stuff. Yeah, he's on great form at the moment. You know, certainly as far as that news conference was concerned, Gail, good job as always. Thank you very much indeed.